Well, guys, it's time for the midseason. So let's look at the midseason awards and hand out some awards to people that so far they've earned it. Who knows? They could always crumble. I mean, after all, we didn't get all of our predictions right for the end of the season last year, but some of these players and some of the coaches that we're going to mention, they really do deserve some recognition right now. And I'll start with you, Philk. Who is your rookie of the year?
I'm going to go back with Celebrini. I know Lane Hutson right now is leading in scoring, but for me, Celebrini's playing on a worse team with lesser talent around him, and he's been the best player on his team, like in my opinion. I know Mikal Granlund's having a very good year scoring-wise, but Celebrini's the guy that really he's the straw that stirs the drink, to quote Reggie Jackson, if you will. He's the guy out there driving everything. So for me, it's Celebrini. I wouldn't be shocked if Hudson wins it. Wouldn't surprise me in the least bit. But Celebrini is the guy that I think brings the most to his team and is the most important to his team of any rookie.
So I was going back and forth between Celebrini and Lane Hutson. And Phil's right. Lane Hutson is on a better team. I ultimately chose Hutson because he's a defenseman and he's got 35 points. He's 20 years old. The fact that a 20-year-old defenseman can come into the NHL and produce the way he's producing, and kind of control the game with the puck on his stick and how he skates and his decision making, for me, it's just really impressive. I think they both have a strong case to win it. I think if the Canadians were to make the playoffs, I think Hudson probably will win, but we'll see. But they're both fantastic young players, and ultimately, I just went with Hudson just because he's a defenseman doing what he's doing in his rookie year. My
preseason pick was Matvei Michkov, and I got to tell you, both these guys have really impressed me that we mentioned. I got to stick with Macklin Celebrini on this one. I did with Phil on that because Celebrini's just been so good on both ends of the ice, been so impressive, and you like what you see out of him. I like what I've seen out of Michkov, but
yeah,
I think Celebrini's been grabbing more headlines, and Hudson's going to be on a playoff team. That might move Michkov maybe to the third spot. By the way, Huck Media saying right here, Wolf for the Calder.
Yeah.
But he'll have a sensation as Hudson carries that team. Phil, I'm going to go right back to you because I think we need to get the hoop on this one.
Oh, God.
Midseason Vezina Trophy. And let's get that layup graphic going for us right now.
Yeah. If there's any other answer than Hellebuyck, I don't even want to talk to you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, he's a madman! A madman!
He's leading in all counting stats, pretty much. He's leading in all the analytics. Goal save above the average, goal save above the expected. He's everything. He is Mr. Everything. He has as many shutouts as he has losses.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is hands down the best. And you know what? I'm more curious as to who can find a solid argument against him, as there are like superlatives. I don't care about all that.
Yeah.
I want to see who could actually find a decent argument against this guy.
His goals against average is under 2. I mean, it's 1.99. I mean, his save percentage is at 929. Phil mentioned he's got 6 shutouts. He's a wall. He's literally a wall in net. He's gonna win his third. He's gonna win his third Vezina. Surpassing Bobrovsky as an active goalie with at least 2 or more. He might be the reason why USA wins the Four Nations tournament.
Nathan McKinnon won the Hart last year, right?
Yep.
We all talk about how the voters don't want to give repeat votes to players. Hellebuyck is literally clean sweeping like a player that's going to win the Triple Crown in the MLB. Like, yeah. He's like doing like prime Miguel Cabrera type shit right now. And like, I think if he does like lead all of the statistical categories and the analytics, with McKinnon, Kucherov, and some of these other guys having down years compared to last year and maybe the year before for McDavid's case, I mean, you could see Hellebuyck win it.
we got to get to the Norris Trophy. And Mr. LaRocco, we're all in agreement again.
Oh, snap!
It's Zach Werenski. I mean, 50 points. I mean, we have talked about Marchenko, and Monahan, but talking about a guy in that room to kind of take charge and lead by example and his play on the ice. Werenski has really stepped up. He's brought his game to an even higher level. He's just, not only is he really good offensively, but paying attention to him this season, he makes the subtle little plays that maybe you necessarily don't notice every night. Whether it's the smart rim around the boards or skating the puck, transitioning it out of trouble rather than just kind of like panicking, getting rid of it. He's just super steady, and he's really one of the main reasons why the Blue Jackets are in a playoff spot right now.
Yeah, we talk about like the underrated guys on Columbus and how Marchenko's having a point per game season. Voronkov is not too far from a point per game. Monahan's a point per game. You want to know why these guys are a point per game? Because Zach Werenski is putting on a masterclass on how to play defense. That's why. Yes. And Zach Werenski, for me, is more important to just about anyone on their team, maybe outside of somebody like a Draisaitl or something like that. If not for Werenski, Columbus is definitely the cellar dweller that we thought that they were going to be after Johnny Gaudreau's unfortunate passing. So, this has got to be a complete layup for me. If he stays at this pace and he outscores or ties Makar and score, or let's just say he's a point or two behind Makar, like he's right there. For me, this is an absolute layup.
You got to love what Werenski's been doing, and also 3-game winning goals. When you're getting 50 points on the Columbus Blue Jackets, it's different from 50 points on the Colorado Avalanche with Nate McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen, who each have well over 100-point seasons under their belt, and a little bit, and also Makar. Everybody's raved about Makar for the longest time. Zach Werenski, who he had trouble was he battling injuries the last few years?
Yeah, he had been injury prone for a while there. Yeah.
The mid-season Jack Adams, who has done the best coaching job so far?
I went with Jim Hiller. For a team that has a coach in his first full year, and with the Drew Doughty injury, that's been a big, big loss for them because Doughty plays, even at his age, plays like 26 minutes a game. It's just stupid how good his cardio is, even at his age, that he can still play 26 minutes, 27 minutes a game effectively. He's usually the league leader in time on ice across the entire NHL. So for me, when you got a guy that could play those tough minutes and he's out and your team is still in a playoff spot, not even just a wild card spot, but they're in a playoff spot considering that injury and a second-year coach. Jim Hiller has gotten this team to buy into him. Jim Hiller has just done a phenomenal job in LA. I would like to see him win it just because it's crazy seeing a second-year coach, or not even really like a full second-year coach, because he only had 34 games last year, but a full first-year coach really come in and do everything that he's done without having a guy like Alexander Ovechkin have a career resurgence where he's almost at a goal per game.
Jim Hiller's having a hell of a season behind the bench in LA, and this one was honestly one of the toughest ones for me because, we spoke about this too not that long ago. There's just so many guys. For me, I went with Spencer Carberry. Again, I know that the Capitals, retooled and kind of made some good moves in the offseason, acquiring Jacob Chikrin. Obviously, the PLD for Darcy Kemper trade, wasn't sure how that was going to go. A lot of people have the Capitals, towards the bottom of the Metro again, right? And I mean, no, that's not the case. They're competing for the President's Trophy. And yes, as Phil said, Ovechkin looks to be like a man on a mission, nearly a goal per game, and that certainly helps. But, Carberry has really kind of pushed the right buttons with Connor McMichael under Laviolette. He didn't really get much of a chance. I mean, he's having a hell of a year. Alexei Protas having hell of a year. You got Dylan Strome is taking his game to another level. Again, this is a group of players that a lot of people wrote off, and he's getting the most out of his team right now. Everyone's buying in. They're playing really good hockey. His goaltending tandem, Logan Thompson and Lindgren have been really good. I just think that for a team that was expected to, probably miss the playoffs, to be competing for the President's Trophy is really impressive.
Impressive. I had to go with Spencer Carberry as well. This is the stat that really sticks out in my head when I think about it. This year, they got a plus 46 goal differential. They were a minus 37 and a playoff team last year.
Most impressive.
We're down to the mid-season MVP, and this one was a really tough one, I thought, going back and forth. But Mr. LaRocco, why don't you start it up?
I wanted to say Kaprizov, but his injury, that's probably going to affect his true ability to win it. I think I've been yearning for him to get one. I think he deserves it, but I had to go Nathan MacKinnon. I know that he's got Rantanen on his team. I know he's got Makar on his team. But look at what that team went through during the beginning of the year. They had so many injuries that they were missing Kukushkin for a while, who was suspended. And then combine that with the fact that they had to deal with goaltending that was just terrible. They were getting buried every night. Gorgiev and Noonan, to the point where Colorado just retooled their goaltending and changed their tandem completely with getting Blackwood and Wedgwood. Despite all that and having an AHL team for half the roster, Nathan MacKinnon still leads the team scoring 70 points. They're in a playoff spot. And this team, they really could have just folded right then and there. They could be like, we're not getting the saves. Our team is just decimated. But no, they stuck with it. They call this guy the dog. They don't call him the dog for no reason. This is a guy that has a burning desire to win. His motor's always going. He just cares about winning, I would say, more than one of the guys that I'll put it this way. I don't know how many more guys I could say that you could truly tell how they want to win more than him. He's just an ultimate competitor, and to boot, like I said, he's leading the league in scoring.
Leon Draisaitl, and if you look at what he's doing, he's first in the league in goals. 24 of his 31 are at even strength. That's insane for a guy who's noted as a power play scorer. And if you look at Edmonton's lineup, there's McDavid, Draisaitl with 64 points, McDavid with 59. And then, do you want to know how many points the third place scorer is and who it is?
It's definitely not Zach Hyman.
No, it's not. He's not having a good year.
No, he's not. Good thing I drafted him in the second round.
Nugent Hopkins?
Nope.
I was going to go Bouchard.
It is Bouchard after a year in which he was over a point per game. There's no scoring. They brought in Jeff Skinner to score points. 15 points in 40 games, 7 goals. There's no scoring from this team. Draisaitl and McDavid are dragging this team to a playoff appearance.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. Come on!
And they're probably going to get killed if they make it. But Leon Draisaitl will be the primary reason they make it if things continue at the pace that they're continuing at. And for him to have 24 even strength goals out of 31, that's stupid. That's ungodly good. So for me, if you take Draisaitl away from Edmonton, they're probably a cellar dweller. If you take McKinnon away from Colorado, they're probably still a playoff team.
I went Nate McKinnon just because from the eye test. I had to go Nate McKinnon. And then I looked these stats up just to check on the premier scorers. When Kucherov doesn't score a point, Tampa's 2-4. When Draisaitl doesn't score a point, Edmonton is 2-7. And when McKinnon doesn't score a point, they were I had 3 and 8, so there were 11 times he was held scoreless this season. And again, as Anthony kind of said, with their goaltending issues that was happening earlier in the season, and he was really putting the team on his back. Phil can made a great. It's either him or Draisaitl, because here's the other thing: Draisaitl scores 60. He's the MVP, right?
Yeah, I would have to say if he scores 60, he's gotta be the MVP. And right now, Draisaitl is on pace for 59. So it's going to be close. And knowing Leon, he could absolutely get hot. And he's one of the best goal scorers in this league. Maybe number 2 behind Matthews right now. But anybody could get hot and go on an absolute tear and get 60, 65 and end with that. It's Draisaitl.
And it sounds funny because we're having this MVP talk. First time in a long time we haven't mentioned the guy who can get hot and just rip off 50 points out of nowhere. Anthony, what happens if Connor McDavid just says, hey, I'm going to start scoring again? But with Draisaitl having the edge on points on him right now, can he even catch up to him?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to ever count on Connor McDavid. I mean, he's the most talented player that we've seen, possibly ever. I mean, yeah, with the way Draisaitl's playing right now, if an Edmonton Oilers is going to win the Hart, it's Draisaitl. But again, with the caveat, you can never count on Connor.
Damn right, you never can count on Connor. All right.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.